Hello, you're watching 7Edition with me, Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan, and these are your top stories. Government to ramp up efforts to close economic gaps across the country. Police shoot dead 3 armed robbers after high-speed chase. And drone attacks spark blazes at 2 Saudi Aramco factories. We begin tonight's bulletin with this story. The government will ramp up efforts to close the economic gap across the country through its Shared Prosperity Vision 2021 to 2030, which was discussed at a special cabinet meeting today. Speaking to the media after chairing the meeting in Putrajaya, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said the government will also look beyond pay rise in increasing worker productivity in the country.
Umpamanya kita sekarang ini sudah masuk dalam bidang aerospace. Bahkan enjin kapal terbang sekarang ini sebahagiannya diperbuat di Malaysia. Dan mereka yang boleh buat kerja ini mempunyai kebolehan tertentu. Tetapi kalau mereka yang kurang kebolehan, mereka akan diberi latihan. Di sini peranan Tibet semua bersetuju adalah satu peranan yang penting untuk meningkatkan keupayaan the skills of our workers. And because it is important, kita nak bagi priority kepada adanya latihan Tibet ini.
On the country's distribution of wealth, Tun Dr. Mahathir said a program must be set up to raise the income of rural areas. He added there is a notable income gap between urban and rural areas, with the former being generally richer with a lower poverty rate. He also said that Kelantan, Perlis and Kedah have been identified as poor states in the country. Meanwhile, the government will no longer allow the sale of public contracts, licenses and approved permits, APs, which Tun Dr. Mahathir said was a commonplace in the past. The Prime Minister assured that such contracts will only be awarded to those who are qualified, in line with the Shared Prosperity Vision 2021-2030.
Kalau dia tak layak, kita akan beri training kepadanya sehingga dia layak. Kalau dia tak layak, tak ada duit, tak ada kemahiran, tak tahu bisnes, tiba-tiba diberi kontrak, yang itu will not achieve, in the end, will not achieve the objective. Kita punya objective is that in the end, we achieve the target, not in the beginning. Dulu kita create banyak opportunities, bagi kontrak rata tempat kepada semua orang. Tapi dia cuma jual kontrak. This time, no selling of contract.
The Premier also said a lot of opportunities were created for a certain group of contractors in the past through public contracts, which ended up being sold to a third party. He said this was because the previous administration prioritized the creation of opportunities over results. Now, on the 2020 budget, the government may reduce its allocation for sectors deemed less significant to support those in the top priority list. Tun Dr. Mahathir said the matter will be formally presented to the Cabinet, which has already agreed upon it in principle.
Bila kita tentukan satu-satu itu menjadi priority, maka bajet kita juga akan memberi tekanan kepada yang priority. Kalau kita tidak mempunyai wang yang cukup untuk semua, kita terpaksa kurangkan bajet berkenaan yang kurang priority supaya dapat meningkat peruntukan kepada bidang yang priority. Inilah yang telah kita bincang dan kertas ini akan telah dipersetujui secara prinsip dan akan dikemukakan kepada Kabinet biasa untuk kita sahkan sebagai kertas Kabinet.
The Prime Minister's announcement was echoed by Economic Affairs Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali, who said the high priority areas included technical and vocational education training (TVET). Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin also said this will be discussed with the Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng, who is set to table the Budget 2020 in Parliament in October 11th. Now, Malaysia will leave it to Indonesia to investigate and prosecute companies that have contributed to the agricultural fires in Sumatra and Kalimantan. Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change Minister Yeo Bee Yin said this includes Malaysian firms operating in the Republic.
Indonesia has full power to enforce their law on their land. Yeah. Also, they have full power to put out the fire on their land. Yeah. So we we have already conveyed our message that we will help. We will support them in any way possible when they see fit. So we are ready if and when they accept the offer from us.
Yeo added since ASEAN presently did not have any Transboundary Haze Act at the regional level, the enforcement in relation to the haze problem had to be dealt with according to the individual country. Commenting further, Yeo said Malaysia will support Indonesia in any way possible that is fit in tackling the haze problem. She also said Malaysia had already conveyed the message to Indonesia, but no such requests have been received from the latter so far. The two long-time political nemesis, UMNO and PAS, today created history by signing a political cooperation charter, the National Consensus Charter. The move officially marks the start of the political collaboration between the two largest Malay Muslim-based parties in the country. According to UMNO President Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and PAS President Datuk Seri Abdul Hadi Awang, the basis of the charter was to bring about the unification of the Ummah or community in harmony with multiracial Malaysia.
Piagam Madinah yang menyentuh hubungan sesama Islam dan juga dengan bukan Islam. Permuafakatan ini mestilah bersifat permuafakatan nasional, bukan sekadar ikhtiar politik orang Melayu dan Islam atau demi puasa semata-mata. Kedudukan Islam, hak agama lain, hak bumi putera, bahasa kebangsaan, hak bermasyarakat majmuk dan lain-lain. Pertemuan hanya dalam perbezaan pendekatan dan salah faham dalam perkara cabang yang bersifat teknikal. Maka dalam menghadapi cabaran yang lebih besar, kita wajib bersatu.
The Charter listed out 5 core issues in its content, which are to uplift and protect the federal constitution, to strengthen national cooperation, to empower the Islamic, Malay and Bumiputra agenda, to form an Islamic and Malay cooperation without rejecting the rights of other religions and races, as well as to collectively work on enhancing good governance and inclusive development policy. The charter, which was signed at the UMNO headquarters at the Putra World Trade Center, saw more than 10,000 members from both parties attending the event. 3 armed robbers were shot dead following a high-speed chase and shootout with police at Jalan Batu Arang in Rawang, Selangor early this morning. State Police Chief Datuk Nur Azam Jamaluddin said a team of police personnel was patrolling at the Bandar County Homes area when they stumbled upon the suspects, who were in a red Volkswagen Polo, at about 5 a.m. Datuk Nur Azam said that the police personnel instructed the robbers to pull over, but they did not heed the orders and sped away from the scene. Police gave chase for about 7 kilometers before they managed to corner the robbers, who then opened fires at the authorities. The patrol team then returned fire in self-defense, killing the trio on the spot.
Kereta ini merupakan kereta yang telah disamun, bersabit dengan Rawang report. Sebelum ni kita telah menerima laporan berhubungan dengan samun kereta. Jadi untuk makluman semua juga, kereta ini juga terlibat dalam kes samun di Taman Green Park Rawang pada 5 bulan 8, yang mana pihak kami dikatakan telah lewat sampai ke tempat kejadian.
Police also recovered 2 pistols, a machete and 3 ski masks at the scene, while the car registration numbers used by the suspects were also found to be fake. Dato' Nur Azam also said police believe the suspects were responsible for a string of house break-ins in the state and are investigating the case further under the Penal Code.
Elsewhere, Johor police have launched a manhunt for 2 men suspected of being involved in an armed robbery that resulted in the death of an elderly woman in Kangkar Tebrau, Johor, last night. State Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Kamarudin Maddin in a statement today said the manhunt started immediately after police received a report of the incident at 8:57 p.m. According to Datuk Kamarudin, in the incident, the 2 suspects attempted to rob a house resided by 6 men by firing 2 shots, in which one of them hit an occupant of the house. The suspects failed in their robbery attempts as the occupants fought back and fled from the house before firing 2 more shots upon realizing they were being chased. However, the 4th shot hit the head of the 78-year-old woman who was resting on her front yard. The woman was pronounced dead at Sultanah Aminah Hospital. The 18-year-old occupant who was shot on the right leg was treated at the same hospital. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for murder as well as under the Firearms Heavier Penalties Act. A husband and wife lost their lives yesterday after Perodua Alza crashed into the high-powered motorcycle they were riding at Jalan Kota Tinggi Mersing in Johor. Mersing Police Chief Superintendent Cyril Edward Nuing said Muhammad Hanafi Ismail and Salimah Muhammad Shafia, aged 37 and 40 respectively, died at the scene in the 9:25 p.m. incident. Initial investigations found that the couple were in a group of 20 people that were heading to Desara from Terengganu for Desaru Bike Week, while the Perodua Alza was heading to Endau Mersing from Johor Bahru. However, the Perodua Alza was believed to have entered the opposing lane while driving through a bend and collided with the victim's Kawasaki Z800. Another motorcyclist was also seriously injured and sent to Mersing Hospital. The case is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. We're taking a short break, but when we return, woman narrowly escapes as 5 robbers pounce on her. Details next. We're back with foreign news. Police stepped in and interfered to break up clashes on Saturday between pro-China protesters and those denouncing perceived Chinese meddling in a shopping mall in Hong Kong. They were chanting the slogan, "Support the police" and "China add oil" at the Kowloon Bay Mall. A number of people were detained by authorities in the incident.
Clashes then spilled out onto the street, with each confrontation captured by dozens of media and onlookers. Earlier on Friday, the protesters complaining about perceived Chinese meddling in the former British colony came out in their hundreds across the territory, singing and chanting on the Mid-Autumn Festival. This, in contrast to the violence of many previous weekends when police have responded with tear gas, rubber bullets and water cannon. On Sunday, they planned to gather outside the British consulate to demand that China honours a Sino-British joint declaration that was signed in 1984, laying out the former British colony's future after its return to China in 1997. The spark for the anti-government protests was a now-withdrawn extradition bill and concerns that Beijing is eroding civil liberties, but many young protesters are also angry about sky-high living costs and lack of job prospects.
Two Saudi Aramco factories were under drone attacks in Abqaiq and Kurais provinces on Saturday. The attacks sparked fires which the state oil company later managed to bring under control. According to the Saudi Interior Ministry spokesman, the precise targets and the extent of possible damage were still unclear.
The ministry added that the source of the drones were yet to be identified. Abqaiq contains the world's largest oil processing plant, while Kurais contains the country's second-largest oil field. Tensions are running high in the region after attacks in June and July on oil tankers in Gulf waters that Riyadh and Washington blamed on Iran. Tehran, however, denies the accusations. Aramco is preparing to float shares as early as this year as part of its efforts to diversify the economy of the world's top oil exporter away from crude. It hired 9 banks as joint global coordinators to lead the IPO and has been meeting bankers this week in Dubai as it speeds up the listing plans.
And it's time for our daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making the rounds in the cyber world today. Criminals are lurking everywhere, waiting to take advantage of innocent people at any moment. So it is important for us to be extra vigilant and cautious of our surroundings at all times to prevent any unwanted incidents. Recently, videos of 5 men pouncing on a female driver in an attempted car robbery went viral on social media, but luckily she managed to escape unscathed in the incident. The footage has garnered 12,000 shares ever since. Here's the story.
Based on several CCTV clips that were posted on Facebook, the incident happened in a residential area in Banting on September 12th around 11 p.m. The woman had already reached her front gate and was waiting for the auto gate to open to park her car inside. Suddenly, a silver Toyota Vios with 5 men inside pulled up just before the auto gate shuts fully. 4 men clad in black with gloves and armed with knives came charging out of the vehicle and rushed up to the woman's car. One of them runs inside the house compound and tries to break the driver's window with his weapon but failed. In desperation, the woman reverses her car and crashes through the half-open gate to ram into the robber's getaway car. Shocked by this, the other 3 robbers quickly ran back into the Vios, but their accomplice was still determined and again tried to break the driver's window. But even after the robber banged on the window more than 10 minutes, it still remains intact, albeit with some cracks. Suddenly, another suspect came back to drag his accomplice away as their robbery attempt has clearly failed and they quickly make their escape. Commenting on the video shared by the victim's daughter, netizens expressed relief that the woman managed to escape the ordeal unharmed. Some also highlighted that the driver must have gotten a pretty good shatterproof security tint on her car windows.
We're very glad that the driver is okay, and we also hope our viewers too would always stay safe and be alert at all times. And now updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. It's time for My Game On, bringing you the latest news for gaming and esports. UMNO has announced the first ever PUBG Mobile Campus Championship, PMCC 2019, to be hosted in several universities and colleges across Malaysia. The tournament will kick off on September 24th, beginning with 7 regional qualifiers before heading to Kuala Lumpur for the grand finals.
PMCC 2019 will see over 6,000 students across the country participating for a shot at the 60,000 ringgit prize pool. The winning team will also walk away with a 1-year UMNO mobile plan and an exclusive direct invite to the grand finals of PUBG Mobile National Championship PMNC 2020. Gaming fans will be able to catch all the action of the grand finals at regional viewing parties organized by the respective universities. In addition to the viewing parties and social media competitions, a nationwide roadshow will also be organized by the university students.
So we are working actually with a youth group to organize roadshows. So that's why we are engaging youths to be involved. Well, in the universities itself, we will be having roadshows and viewing parties. Right? In terms of the roadshows, we will have special lucky draws, which are for a chance to win T-shirts and also in-game jerseys.
The roadshow will visit 14 different universities where students can look for tournament promos, exclusive merchandise and PUBG mobile show watches.